No.
That was when it was like A, B, C, D. Oh, I love
Exactly.
God. You love God.
Exactly.
I love
I
God.
saw it, yeah.
Welcome everyone, episode 16, Ibra. Super excited. Welcome to Think Talk, guys. Today we're back again with social commentary. There are so many things, like it's unbelievable. It looks like tiny things, but big news from the last week or last 2 weeks, week-ish. And we're super excited to bring it to the pod today. And I'm pretty sure we have a lot of interesting conversation around it. Ibra, are you ready?
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
Perfect. All right. So the first one, it's good news, and I'm curious to see what your expectation is for the future and what your thoughts are about how it went down as well. So the first one is about Young Thug. Young Thug is back home, brother. After 2.5 years of being in prison, he is back home now.
Wow.
A little bit of good news, right? I mean, I wasn't a fan of Young Thug, but after everything that has happened, I would definitely be listening to his next song or next album, because I'm curious to see what perspective he's going to come up with after experiencing what he has experienced. Like, you know, because it's like rap music is supposed to be conscious music. But let me give you the background. So Young Thug was charged to court with a RICO charge. And, you know, RICO charge, it will include a lot of different things, gang-related stuff, murder, drugs, everything is usually in this stuff, yeah? And when it was charged, I think a year ago or 1.5 years ago, the state actually offered him a plea deal that would have allowed him to go home instantly, but to do so, he needed to plead guilty and then testify. However, his lawyer, I can't remember his name now actually, but his lawyer, they decided that they won't take the plea deal and they will take it to trial. So the case went to trial, and after a lot of different dramas happened, like you mentioned in one of the episodes as well that they wanted to indict him based on some of the lyrics in his song that did not work out. They actually had a jury. They played some of the songs in the courtroom, and you know, some of the jury members were even dancing along. There were like a lot of epic yeah, exactly. There were like so many epic moments, like him rapping along to his song as well, this and that happening. There was even one time when the lawyer was fighting something in the court, and then the judge actually held his lawyer in contempt of court, and he was sentenced to weekend jail. Guess what the lawyer did? This guy, the lawyer is a white man, by the way. This white guy literally said, "It's okay if you send me to jail. I only have one request. Please put me beside in the same prison or the same jail as my client, so we can continue working on the case." You know, like it was like a lot of crazy moments in there, and thankfully a week ago he wasn't acquitted. He pled guilty to some of the charges, but pled not guilty to the RICO charge. So the judge decided that it was going to get, was it 35 or 45 years? However, it was it's crazy. However, 20 years suspended. So he got 40 years, 20 years suspended charge. Basically, what that means is that it would go out, and for a particular amount of time, if he commits another crime, on top of the sentencing for that crime, it would have to serve 20 years for this crime that he has committed currently. So 20
So
years
like
suspended.
a pending 20 years.
Yeah, pending 20 years. But the probation period where he has to be in good behavior, otherwise he would face that 20 years on top of whatever sentence he gets, is 15 years. So for 15 years, he has to be in absolute good behavior. The remaining 5 years, they gave him like a credit of 5 years for already serving 2.5 years in jail. So he has already been in prison for 2.5 years, gave him like credit to make it 5. and that's how he was able to go
That's
on
wild,
that exact day.
Because I thought he was
Yes.
already convicted or something. Because I just keep seeing him like in jail. I thought that was prison already, you know.
Yeah, it was in prison because you can't keep people in jail for too long. So when the
So it
case is
actually
going on,
wasn't.
they have to send it. It was in prison. They have to send you to prison because you can only stay in jail for
2.5
a specified
years.
amount of times. It was in prison
Yeah.
already, so that's why he got like credit for time spent as well. And then they just accounted that 2.5 years as 5 years. That's why his 40-year term was then all sorted out. Now
That's wild. Man.
I think it's 40 years, but if we will check what the correct one is, just in case I'm messing the number up, and then we'll put it somewhere here. So it went home directly, but there was also one clause. Yeah, the clause is that every year it would put together 4 presentations or concerts that speaks against gang violence and violent stuff. And in his
Okay, this makes sense now. Because I was seeing some names. I didn't know. Yeah, okay, this makes sense now.
Yeah, so Young Thug literally has, I'm curious as to what type of angle it will come with. That there's a lot of conscious music in rap. Like when you look at Upsin, for example, like those guys are making conscious music anyway. So I'm curious as to what type of angle Young Thug will bring that in. So yeah, he's going to have to do that. And also for him, in his closing statement, he actually said something that, for sure, one of the things that's taken away from that experience is that we can talk about better things in our music. Like, there are better things to talk about. And I'm curious as to how he expresses that. But what do you think about how the whole case has gone? And what are your expectations for Young Thug moving forward?
Okay. I guess that makes sense. Because I was seeing all these memes about like Young Thug's next single, like, and I'm like, what is going on?
That was one who was like, hey, you see, I love God, do you love God?
Exactly.
I love God.
saw it, on the shade room. I saw that slide, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like this is definitely a win for him. Because especially since he can still pursue his music and still perform and still do what he loves. And he might be quite challenging with the whole, what's it called now, like good behavior for like how long again? For like
15 years.
15 years.
15 years probation.
For someone like him,
like mistakenly
that
taking,
yeah.
Imagine mistakenly smoking weed somewhere where you shouldn't, and maybe that already breaks probation.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I feel like any step forward, like in the direction of freedom, exactly, is a win. So yeah, he should definitely take that as a win. And with the whole concert, or like that's still quite hilarious. I'm curious to see. I don't know what he's planning or what he would have planned. But yeah, I'm curious to see what sort of music he comes up with now. Like, you felt like he is remorseful, or at least something changed in him. That would be nice, because I've always felt like, we had this discussion on one of our episodes also, by the way, like the sort of music that is being produced. I think this was on the Diddy episode. Like, definitely it influences a lot of the people, and now we have conscious rappers, like you say, or rappers, but now seeing someone who started off as Young Thug with the sort of music he was making, now pivoting into conscious or some, I think that would be good for the culture. That would definitely be.
It would be, right? Especially if he makes that pivot and he actually becomes successful at it, because then you can actually really impact the community differently without affecting your bag.
And show people that you can also make this sort of music and still be successful, because people feel like you can only make.
I mean, Kendrick is a conscious rapper. He's quite successful, but again, Kendrick came in as the serious guy. They came in as the guy that would like put 2 and 2 together, and you feel it and feel like, he's saying something there. And some people came in as like, hey, this is drill music, and how do you then move from that to something. You're right. I forgot to mention that as part of the sentencing as well, he's allowed to travel, I think even outside the US, for concerts for his music. So they're trying to not limit what he can do with the music stuff. However,
Can he still perform like gang-related songs? So what does that really mean? Now he can still do music, but then
so what
can he
happens
only
to some
perform
of
new
his
music?
old songs?
Exactly.
Actually, never thought about that. Interesting questions. That's a very interesting question there, actually. So, guys, let us know in the comment section what you think. If Young Thug, now that he has to move away from this gang-related stuff, if we will still be able to perform some of his old songs moving forward. That's actually very interesting. Yeah, imagine performing an old song. Maybe they did and I just didn't see it. Because imagine performing an old song and this is him breaking probation. 20 years for performing a former E-track. Wow, that would be mental. But I guess I'm just exaggerating it. It can't be that simple.
I'm also curious to see now moving forward. Definitely he has to make a change in the sort of songs like that he's making. How does this impact his audience, you think? Is he trying to push everyone to this new narrative or this new story? Do you think everyone will fall off and he has to build a new fan base, or he can really carry them along?
I think if I would be him, right, I think he can carry them along and even gain new fans. Like for example, for me, I'm not a Young Thug. I didn't listen to him that much, but now he has my attention. Whatever he comes out with first, I saw it on Twitter recently, or he posted it yesterday or something. It looks like a feature is coming. Whatever he comes out with first will be a deciding factor for some people to think, oh yeah, he still got it. And some people like me will be like, I'm giving him a chance. I'll see if I'm listening to a fresh artist. Let's see what angle it comes. But it will be very interesting to hear his perspective of the experience the last 2.5 years. Again, a story of whether he's remorseful now or the other. Like when I read the tweet today, he said something like, oh, let's give these rats something. And I'm thinking, what do you mean by rats? I hope that's not another gang speak, but okay. Because sometimes I'm serious. Like sometimes I'm like, do you want to come out as the ad guy again? Or do you want to come out as the let's move forward, let's do better guy?
The improved Young Thug 2.0.
Exactly. I mean, it looks improved. Somehow he looks healthier than before.
Yeah, probably he has limited access to weed and drugs,
to drugs and stuff. Maybe he's working out now and stuff. So I'm really curious to see. But his first few songs, if I would be Young Thug's management, I would probably not even drop any feature or any songs. I'll just start working on an album, and he should have been working on a project already. Yeah. Like I will drop a project, everyone will gop it up. I'll make some new cash as well, whether it fucks or not, whether it fucks it up or not. But I really don't think it will fuck. I
hear you. Like, you're not a gangster, right? You're not like his typical core audience, So I'm just wondering how the connection with Young Thug and his audience, you know what I mean? He's like, can he still making new music now? Can he still really speak to them? Or they'll just be like, nah,
I think so. I think the reality of the gangsters also include potential prison time. They would like to know the perspective of a Young Thug in prison. And I can see like a story that can be baked around, when I was sitting there in the courtroom, I can see a lot of things that they could come up with. There are certain parts of the courtroom that became viral stuff. You can start saying, oh, you saw that. But in my head, this was what I was telling myself. I get what you mean. I was there in the room. You wake up, they wake you up at 6, they put you to bed at 8. Your freedom is not, there's a lot that you can do to even bring that community along forward and also acquire more fan base in a new
while doing so
space. And that's why I'm really curious, because I would be interested in the reason I'll be interested in listening to what he comes up with first is that one time I ended up in prison talk. Like TikTok videos, but every time I'm scrolling, it's just like stories of people that have been in prison. And bro, when I heard the stories of people, I saw that life in prison is a different game. It's it's something else. And those guys, they became famous on the internet. Like the ones that decided to make content out of coming out of prison. It's so easy because it's like they lived on a different planet. It's a different rule. It's different rules in there. Those guys have things to tell. And it doesn't matter which prison you go to. VDM, Nigerian guy.
I wanted to say that, but I just wanted you to land. I just saw that.
You come out of prison, it's like a different story every time. There's so much to share. And that's why I'm really eager to see what that guy comes.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Let's move on to the next topic. These conversations are interesting. I like it.
Yeah.
But the next one, we're going into a different world. We're going into sport for a little bit. And it's a Ballon d'Or. So let's say if you don't know about football, the peak personal accolade that you can receive in current football at the moment, it's called Ballon d'Or. It's basically given to the best footballer of the year. It's a French award. And there have been a lot of controversies around who deserves what. You know how, let's say, you watch it and you think this guy should have gotten it and then maybe another guy gets it. This is like super common theme with the Ballon d'Or. Because there have been years where you see that maybe they play favoritism, maybe they do one thing or the other. And I'm not saying one is fact or the other, but it's just, these controversies occur. And one of the biggest ones happened this year. The Ballon d'Or ceremony happened, I think, a week ago, and Manchester City, Rodri won the MVP, so Ballon d'Or, best player of the year, over Real Madrid's Vinícius Jr. A lot of people thought Vinicius deserved it. There were people that thought Rodri deserved it as well. But I would think a lot more people thought that, Vinicius should have gotten it. From what I've seen on the internet, a lot more people thought Vinicius should have gotten it. What makes this one a bit more newsworthy than the ones that have happened previously was that because Vinicius did not win, it leaked to Real Madrid. Real Madrid is the absolute number one football team, the best football team in the history of football. But not just the history of football, actually also in that Ballon d'Or ceremony won the best team award. So they had the most representation, but they also literally gave them, this is the best team. And no representative from that team attended this award ceremony. The president, the club, no player, no manager, nothing. They sent no one to participate in this ceremony as a way to protest against what they felt was injustice to Vinícius Jr. What do you think? Was there something shady going on there? If there is, can you describe what it is? And if there is no, if you believe that, Rodri was the guy and he won it, it's deserving, tell us why you think so as well.
I mean, I think they both had a great year, definitely, and they both could have won it, in my opinion. My winner would have been Cavaya. Also, not even any of these two guys. So, but thank God I'm not allowed to vote. So, but yeah, to be honest, I think I would have voted for Vini. We sort of discussed this, right? Like before now, like I didn't know much about the situation until like a day, I think after our discussion that I was reading about it. And I feel like Vini definitely should have won it. I don't know why it didn't win it, but yeah. I think Vini should have won. You
think Vini should have won it, right? Why do you think he should have won it?
I mean, like I said, after like our call the other day, I was Googling things and I'm like, okay. Because you remember, like after the conversation, I didn't really know where I stood, right? So I'm like, okay. Then I even asked ChatGPT, right? I was like, okay, what are the criteria? Then GPT gave me like some criteria and there were lots of them. Mentioned like the individual performance, team success, international competitions, and the media voting. I don't know what that means really, like media voting.
So it's journalists. Some journalists are allowed to vote. Some players get to vote as well. I think captains or something. And I think ex-winners get to vote. I heard that Cristiano Ronaldo stopped voting for like 2 years because Messi won that one. That's what I think. The last one that Messi won, that they sort of just gave to him somehow, because he had a good World Cup, but everything else was shit, and he still won the Ballon d'Or. The president of Ballon d'Or mentioned like, stop voting for one reason or the other.
Yeah, I would have asked you like the question, but I think I already gave it out already. So like the ChatGPT thing. So like I was actually asking like ChatGPT the whole thing, and it also came to the conclusion that based on these criteria and everything, like Vini Jr. was supposed to be the winner of the award.
This would have been my logic. I would have gone Vini as well. I expected Vini to win it. Of course, Vini did not do well with Brazil in Copa America. Like they didn't perform the best, but it wasn't a bad player there. And with the club, they won the Champions League again, and they won the league. and it was like super, super pivotal. It was the best player in their team. Won a lot of personal awards, and I think he also got the most votes with the journalist. Now, where I think something shady was happening is that Vini is Brazilian, you know, is a black guy, and sometimes he gets a lot of racist attack when he plays, but he's not one of those players that will just let it slide. So when that happens, he gets agitated and he reacts. Right? And also during the game, he's also the kind of player that riles up his opponent. And I think 3 or 4 days before the Ballon d'Or award ceremony occurred, is it that the president or someone at least from the organizing body said that, oh yeah, the Ballon d'Or winner is not just when you play well, fair play is also a huge consideration, and we would always pick a player that has fair. This is the right question. Like, since when is fair play such an important? If fair play was so important, N'Golo Kante should have won Ballon d'Or at some point. When N'Golo Kante was 5th or when he was in top 10, they should have just given him, because if fair play carried so much weight. And then they said, oh, what about country performance? Okay, Carvajal captained Spain to the Euro win, and also captained sometimes Madrid to the Champions League and League win. Played a lot of games, played like crazy, and did a lot of stuff. Why is that not better than Rodri's win? Because Carvajal was basically Rodri's captain. And now the season started, Rodri got injured quite early. I mean, Carvajal is injured now as well. So the new season is somehow another advantage for Vini, because he has been on fire this season as well. It seems like something shady happened there, and it's not new. I want to also mention that there have been a few years that it has been unfair to a lot of people. I can't remember 2010, Wesley Sneijder or Iniesta. Messi won. I would say 2013, Frank Ribery, Cristiano won. And I think that was unfair to Frank. I can remember 2020 Lewandowski, he got cancelled. And like, for me, I'm like, nah. That guy deserved it that season. They played football that season, regardless of the COVID situation. That guy should have gotten his award sent to him by mail. And then the next year, they should have done. No, I mean, who does that, you know? And then the next year again, Lewandowski was robbed again. Messi won. And then they had to create another award, best striker for Lewandowski. Why didn't they create best defender? Like, mental, right? And you know that they've got favorites. It's just what it is. And it's not, and this is the thing with individual awards, there's a lot of politics involved.
100%.
Also, I forgot to mention 2018 when Cristiano left Madrid to Juventus. That was Ronaldo's Ballon d'Or as well. Luka Modric won. That's one thing. It has some questionable outcomes. But also, there's something I wanted to mention about how relevant the era. There's this huge thing about luck when it comes to achieving things in this life. Like, Pelé never won. Maldini never won. Like, these are great players. Another person that I think could have won, didn't win, Andre Iniesta. That guy deserves a Ballon d'Or. Iniesta, absolutely once in a generation type of footballer. It was too brilliant with the ball, on and off. Like, Iniesta is absolutely mental as a footballer.
He consciously or he deliberately like decided to back Messi every time for the Ballon. That's what I thought.
It's also the politics.
He's like, Messi is the guy. I'm just gonna let go or be like a second, third guy.
Another person that I think could have won, Neymar. There was that season that Neymar turned around a lot of stuff. I remember before Neymar left to PSG, one particular match that he turned it around, and they went into the dressing room. I think he even scored 3 goals. Was it not Barcelona versus PSG as well? Diming it, and they started running around, played the free kicking, did this, and they went into the dressing room. They were lifting Messi up. I can't imagine.
Not even lifting Messi. Even the fans are also still calling Messi's name and everything. It's
but I can't imagine.
I did this shit, you know.
Neymar was so good. He got into top 10 Ballon d'Or while playing in Brazil. I never won the Ballon d'Or, and then we have people like Rodri with the Ballon d'Or.
It's insane.
I mean, Rodri is an amazing player. Let's not make it a joke. Like, Rodri deserves top 5. I see him top 5 this year for sure because he played well, scored a lot of important goals for a defensive midfielder or center midfielder, scored a lot of important goals for both club and country. It was always important.
I think there's this crazy stat he has that all the games he played that year, like with Man City, I'm not sure if it's like home and away or just home, like all the games they didn't lose. And I was like, wow, that's insane, man. Yeah.
Exactly. Rodri is an absolute beast. Yeah, he is an absolute beast. But yeah, I don't think he was the winner this year. But okay, he is the winner. Congratulations to Rodri and all the best. Good stuff. So let's jump into the next topic. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
So that was it with football. Now we're coming into sports apparel. And I can't even call it sports apparel because I don't know. Yeezys are not necessarily sports apparel. It was just something that used to be made by it had deals with sport apparel companies. So Nike first and then Adidas later on. And the update is that Adidas and Kanye West, they have now gone their separate ways. No litigate, no court case, nothing. They're literally just going their separate ways, wishing each other the best. So now Kanye is free to do whatever he wants with his Yeezy brand and they're moving forward. What do you expect from Yeezy now that this has happened?
I mean, I saw the news. I'm definitely happy for Ye. That is finally free from the whole Adidas drama. Because I think that took 2 years or more. I'm not sure, but it's been on for a while, right? So, but I'm not sure if this is a huge win for him. But definitely any sort of freedom, either financial or even creative freedom, is a win still for him. But business-wise, I'm not sure what this really means.
When it was Adidas, every time I'm usually confused. It's a German brand. It's Adidas, but I think Americans call it Adidas or something like this. But when it was Adidas, his valuation went up to $6.5 billion, right? Kanye. That was the peak of his.
What's his net worth now? Because I'm not even sure.
At the moment, maybe 400 million or something. I can have a quick look.
He's still a rich guy.
I mean, of course, it's still an extremely rich guy. It's just, I don't think the full freedom he has now, I don't think the projection in the market, I don't think they're expecting that it would rush to, about $400 million according to CBS News. But I think even now that he has his freedom and all that stuff, it's difficult to project how big Yeezy would be in the market moving forward. And it's simply just a question of distribution and marketing funds, This is something Adidas has in a way that it's the same sort of control you see with movie in Hollywood as well. If you do your music, movie or whatever independently, people would fuck with you, but it's just limited when it comes to distribution, what you can do. So you still have to get that Sony deal, you have to get that Rock Nation deal, or you have to get, for example, in the movie industry, you still need to go to Marvel or Sony or
the Universal or this to
the Universal. But we're wishing Kanye all the best. We hope that this freedom that he has now, and a lot of people were actually talking lately, I don't know if they were relating it to whether it's freedom now from Adidas or that PDD has all this situation. They're like, oh, Kanye is back. It looks real. It looks like the real Kanye now. Look at him. Like, is even... You sent me a video and you were like, well, he even lost a bit of weight, Nah,
like he looks younger. It's not... He looks a lot... I'm really impressed. I'm like, yo, dude... Yeah, whatever you're doing, man, keep it up, man. It's definitely working, man. Yeah.
maybe this is the happiness coming from all the freedom that was about to come. I wanted to make one comment, or maybe that's the doing of Bianca.
That was what I had in mind, but since you just said the freedom, I'm like, yeah, go for it. Well, like in my mind, I'm like, have you seen his girlfriend or his wife? His wife. I've been seeing his wife, But anyways, so I just had, I have a couple of questions on this topic. So the first one is, who do you think had the bigger loss in this whole settlement? Is it Kanye or is it Adidas?
I think it's not as simple as saying bigger loss. Bigger loss would be if they were.
Is it a win-win for both of them?
I think it's a win-win. That's how I see it. I think it's a win-win. They were going for different things. It would have been costly to fight Kanye on his Yeezy stuff for Adidas. It's not super worthwhile for them. They can get more and more creative. They have the distribution channels. It's there.
You think so?
A lot more designs. Yeah, they will still benefit from some of the old designs. So it's like, I don't think it will make or break Adidas. Yeah, so this is not going to be something that they had enough resources in any case to have signed someone else and many more people, even with Kanye being on their roster, So it's like, it doesn't make them, but I don't think it breaks them. They stopped making money from Yeezy a while back anyway, so it's fine. For Kanye as well, even though it might mean that he loses a bit of the market potential, but now it probably allows him to even lean more into that luxury brand thing, and he has full freedom on how he wants to play it. So I think it's a win-win because maybe some people, it's cost saving for Adidas at this point to do that, to just let it go. And for Kanye, even though it's a loss in market potential, it's a gain for his peace of mind.
Yeah, that makes sense. The one other question that I have is, if you had to give Ye one piece of advice moving forward with this fashion business, what would it be? Respectfully, because remember this conversation with Piers Morgan, and he was telling him what the fuck are you giving me advice? Exactly. I've made more money.
I'm richer than you. What the hell? Yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Be careful your advice. Man.
I don't know as much as Ye knows
from
where
you're
industry.
Standing. Yeah,
I don't know as much. But from my perspective, I would say, honestly, if I would, looking from outside, I would probably play it the way he has currently been playing it and be fine with not selling to everyone. Like, I would lean very much into that super luxury range, a lot of limited edition stuff. I'll play it like the way Bugatti plays their car stuff. For example, the new Bugatti, it's completely sold out already. It's a specific price that allows them to make like $1.1 billion in sales, and it's done for that version, And then maybe they then make a slightly upgraded version. But, something so tightly knitted, fixed, almost everyone that will buy it it's already done in pre-order, limited, super expensive.
But does he have that kind of audience though? Like, how does he? Because now he has to build his brand now because he needs like this.
Yeah, but it's a fashion. It's good with the crazy fashion stuff.
It's a fashionista.
Broke, he's a fashionista, and being a fashionista is not necessarily a broke people's game. Do you know this guy, Kaye? Wisdom Kaye. That guy that does that guy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He has the same vibe. I won't be surprised if he has like 30 Yeezy stuff all over in his closet, and it will just fit into that kind of space. That's the kind of game that I think I would play if I would be Ye. But Ye might know more, and I know I don't want Ye to come for us.
He should come for us, man.
Baba might know more. He might know more. He's probably he probably has even more clarity on how crazy he wants to play it. And I'm actually excited to see what he does. So the next topic, this one is a little bit more critical thinking, and it's also very sensitive as well, yeah? So it's about Megan Thee Stallion and the Tory Lanez situation. There were a few updates in the last week. Update number one is that it started trending again that Megan lied. From a documentary that she made, she confessed that she actually lied on the Gayle King show interview that she did not sleep with Tory, right? It's like, okay, she lied. And a lot of commentary around it is, she might have lied about whether she slept with him. Doesn't mean she lied about other things. But anyway, she lied. Whether you want, I'm curious to see how you want to interpret that, whether it mattered that she lied or not. I'm curious to see what you think about that. But the second layer that I would like to add on top of it before you give me your opinion is that Tory also is now suing his lawyer that represented him in that case, because that lawyer was in that moment affiliated with Rock Nation, and Rock Nation was publicly and privately behind Megan Thee Stallion
Yeah.
in that case. So to have a lawyer that is super affiliated, strongly affiliated with the other side, it could be that he now feels that he did not get good enough representation, because that case is a little bit for something,
Messy.
yeah, for something like what they said happened, it became too messy to understand what was true and what's not true. Like, it's supposed to be super clear. You got shot in your foot. Like, show us the, like, we see the wound, we find the gun, we find fingerprints of it shouldn't be as messy as that, but it was super messy. So what do you think?
Yeah, Megan was definitely wrong for doing that. Definitely. I feel like it's already a question of what other things is she not talking about. Okay, she already lied to the public. I don't know why she did that, but I guess somehow probably made a case for her to totally make Tori a bad person. I think that's sort of making my case now with this now saying, oh yeah, I didn't mention it or I lied. Why would you feel the need to keep that when the whole situation was publicly known, or at least you made it public and you come up on Insta Live and say things and stuff?
Okay, actually, I see what you're saying, and look, let's caveat this. We wish everyone the best. We hope justice is always prevailing when court cases happen. But I also agree with you, Ibrahim. When this thing was happening, I was like, there's something missing. There's something off. There's something that it just doesn't seem right with me. So I wasn't surprised now that I actually have a genuine reason to question even Megan's character as well. I don't care now about the character of anyone else that I don't know much about, but I actually have to question Megan's character now, because for something that deep to be less than honest in those kind of situations, again, it just begs the question: what other things is she not telling us about, or is she outrightly lying about? And I just thought that thing should not be that complicated. It shouldn't be that complicated to to see who shot you or something. You know what I mean? But anyways, yeah, I mean, it just didn't feel like it made sense to me. The other bit where Rock Nation, Tory is now suing his lawyer. What do you think about that one?
I can't stop thinking about one thing and one thing only. Like, how did he end up there? How did he miss that? So now I'm just curious as to why would you have such a representation? Like, aside his lawyer, he should also have like a management team and all. Like,
I'm curious to see what they come out with. Maybe it's new information. Yeah, maybe this was something that wasn't disclosed before.
is it like a
And
double agent situation?
yeah, and I think it should have been disclosed that there was some sort of conflict of interest.
Yeah.
But I think it wasn't disclosed before. But we'll find out. We'll find out as the case proceeds. But I think that's also another reason to question the whole thing. Something shady is going on, or something shady went down with that whole thing, and I think it might actually be worthwhile that it should be revisited or something. But I don't
Yeah.
know what is possible and what is not possible. But all the best to them, anyways. Next topic. This one is again another very sensitive one, and it requires a bit of critical thinking as well. Yeah, it's the story of Chidinma Adesina. Chidinma Adesina was born to a Nigerian woman in South Africa that was living in South Africa at the time. They got the South African citizenship, and Chidinma, now that she's an adult, contested for Miss South Africa last year. Or was it earlier this year? She contested for Miss South Africa, and she was so close to winning. I think before the final pageant, some South Africans that had a very strong voice on social media came out to say, no way Nigeria will win Miss South Africa, that it's just not possible and she should be disqualified from the pageant. Their voice was loud enough that the government got involved, the South African government, and Chidinma was disqualified from the Miss South Africa pageant at the time. But when it became an online conversation, a lot of Nigerians also rushed to back Chidinma, basically saying, why should she be banned? Yeah. Why should she be disqualified? Because she met all the eligibility criteria. But what some of the people were saying is, no way, we don't want a Nigerian to end up as Miss South Africa. And this is going back to the history of xenophobia against other Africans in South Africa, especially Nigerians in the recent years. So now there was a comment that Chidima's mom might have done some sort of identity theft to get a South African citizenship, and there's something illegal going on there. Anyways, she was disqualified, and the state that her mom came from in Nigeria, I don't know, but anyways, she came to Nigeria, met the eligibility criteria for the Miss Nigeria pageant, and she became Miss Nigeria. Now, there's a question for you here, because some Nigerians then came up again and said, oh, this is fair. A lot of people have worked hard to be Miss Nigeria in that pageant, and Chidima just comes from to be a part of the Miss Nigeria pageant after in a very short while and won the competition. Now, that's not where the story ends, but just hold that place, yeah? There's a question there on, do you think it's fair? Is there any conversation of fairness to be had in the first place? What do you think about that? But anyways, now this family, they left South Africa, they participated in Miss Nigeria, life goes on. This is what you would think, right? And then recently, the South African government, they carried out their investigation. I would think if you carry out your investigation, you'll find that, identity theft occurred, or they didn't meet the eligibility criteria for South African citizenship at the time that they got it, so we withdraw their citizenship, right? This is not what the government decided to do. What they decided to do was to say Chidima and her mother should report to the government and convince the government as to why they deserve a South African citizenship. Makes no sense when I think about that, but okay. What do you think Chidima and her mom did? They just did not respond to that call. And I think their citizenship was withdrawn. Okay, cool as well. Now, because Chidima won Miss Nigeria, she will be in Mexico competing for Nigeria in the Miss World competition. And again, there's a South African organization that actually wrote to the Miss World competition asking Chidima to be disqualified from the Miss World competition on the basis that they have this identity theft case against Chidima's mother. And now they're asking her to be disqualified from the competition. And it just seems a little bit interesting that they just want this girl to fail so bad. They want to bring her down so bad. Now, another note. Again, remember, she met all the eligibility criteria to participate in the Miss South Africa pageant, right? When she lost, when they disqualified her, the person that ended up winning that competition is a South African, but a white South African. And there was a lot of conversation on the internet that, so you would rather a black South African, but that maybe has a background from another African country, you would rather they lose, but you are fine with a Dutch that became South African, to win. And a lot of these people with a very loud voice on the internet as well. I keep saying a lot of South Africans, but I don't know if they're a representation of the whole South Africa, because I've also seen South Africans comment under it and say, this is just hatred. This is not making sense. But some of them came out and said, oh, yeah, absolutely. We love our white people, which is fine. You should absolutely love your white people. They're South Africans. You're cohabitating together and all that stuff. But why don't you just love everyone? Why do you say we love our white people, but we hate you fucking Nigerians? We're all Africans at the end. And when we look at the shared history between Nigeria, for example, and South Africa, I don't think anyone deserves to hate each other in this sense. We should actually find a way to bond and come together and stand together for the betterment of Africa as a whole. So it's a little bit surprising when I see that we would love everyone but our fellow black people. It just doesn't sound right to me. I'm not saying love all the black people and not love the white people. I'm saying love everyone. That's my stand. But what are your thoughts? What do you think? And again, let me recap the question properly. What do you think about one, her being disqualified from the Miss South Africa pageant? Two, the conversation around fairness that she won the Miss Nigeria pageant. Three, the government telling them to come to South Africa to make their case as to why they deserve a South African citizenship, even though they have already gotten the citizenship. And four, the disqualification request from the South African organization to the Miss World pageant. And five, the idea that, we are fine that a white person, South African white person that has the lineage from Europe wins Miss South Africa as opposed to a black person that is not originally South Africa.
So there's a lot to unpack here.
I know.
So I feel like this whole situation, Chidima's experience, I would say, definitely reveals like the double standard in how national identity is often like defined and also defended, if I may. I feel like, like the treatment really shows how, like, for someone with this sort of multi or like, this national identity thing or like having double background, in as much as you can be celebrated for your talent, for your success and every good thing that you have done for your quote and unquote like home country, there are still biases against, foreign born people or residents, your accomplishment or your achievements. And I think it's quite sad. I've seen that not just in this case, also while in Germany, I made friends with a lot of people with like foreign background, and they really struggle in Germany also with this same situation. So I would just say generally, this is a big issue that the world needs to address. If we want to go global or we just want everyone to stay in their places, right? Like just live in your country. Don't come out to mix with other people because it's a problem for the offspring of such people. Exactly. It's like we want to make it seem like it is, but then there's this new being born into this identity crisis situation and is finding it difficult to navigate. And this is one of such examples, right? In terms of if it's fair or not, I can definitely understand why some people would feel like it's not fair. But at the end of the day, I would assume I didn't follow the story fully well. So I would assume that the Miss Nigeria pageant was, held to the standard of the eligibility criteria that a winner should have. She definitely passed that and she was made the winner, right? So, and I've seen this lady that we are talking about. To me, she looks like a Miss Nigeria, she's
to me, I know, apart from the looking bad, she's exposed. From my perspective, I thought it was a deserved win.
I feel like that.
I have a feeling that the reason that people talk about the fairness bit is that it's almost like, will it be fair to have, because she already had fame. She already had fame because of
like the media hype,
as a positive consequence from what has happened, the negative thing that has happened to her. So we're not asking, is it fair that she faced that negative thing? But anyways, bringing in that fame into, it's like doing Big Brother Nigeria now, and then everyone is competing fairly, but you drop Wizkid or Davido to compete, or maybe not Wizkid, like Ruga to be in Big Brother against non-celebrities or something. Yeah. And then you ask the question, is it fair? But if Ruga decides that he wants to participate in Big Brother, it would be fair. Even though it would just get more votes than the others, but it would be fair. Because it would meet the eligibility criteria, it would make the show fun, it would just be what it is.
And so to make to make the company more money. Yeah, the word itself, that's exactly. Like the nuanced part of it is that the word itself, it's not a fair place. You can argue, you can want it to be fair the way you want it to go, but it's never going to go the way you want it to go. That's just the reality of things. So I can also see the incentives or the incentive of Chidinma winning, even though she might maybe originally be good enough for a second or third place. But if she came that close, they might just be like, you know what? Let's run with this hype. Let's run with this media thing. As the company behind this thing, she has to be the winner now. So it might not be fair in that regard, but it's
everyone requires
a lot of thing in
little
life.
bit of but that's the thing, right? Everyone requires a little bit of luck in which getting to where you get to. For
An
someone
X
like
factor.
Chidima, but for someone like Chidima, our X factor, our luck actually came at a point where she was super broken and super down. And a lot of Nigerians thought, now we're going to lift you up, we'll support you. I remember there's this person that I read on Twitter, I forgot his name now. I think Osare Teen Victor or something is an OG, like an older man that talks about investment and all that stuff. But I think he spent some time reading about the Chidima situation on Twitter, and he lifted it on his head and be like, I know this is not my forte. It's like Elumelu or something. Like, maybe the guy, of course, this person is maybe not Elumelu level, but someone that is in the more, let's invest. These are the businesses that I've invested in. He has done a lot of crazy stuff. He has companies and all that stuff. Suddenly just lifted it on his head like, oh no, I will support this Chidima girl forever, because she does not deserve what is happening to her. So our X factor, the luck that we say she gets, she actually got it after experiencing some of the worst experiences of her life.
Yeah.
So it's balanced. It's like yin and yang. She got that.
Yeah.
You're not saying, did she deserve to have that? Did she deserve to suffer like that? Blah, blah, blah. And now she's winning. You're like, oh, is it fair that she won? Of course it's fair that she won. You are not even blind. Thankfully, our losses were public as well. Some of our losses.
Yeah.
So when people win and we don't see, or we don't want to acknowledge the losses they've had to be able to get to that point, you now start asking, oh, did they deserve it? And you all need a little bit of luck. It's also the thing with the Rodri Ballon thing, right? Because or the era question that we talked about as well. It's a factor of some X factor luck-ish that needs to happen to get to where you need to.
So the third one, you mentioned like the South African government and requesting her parents to do this and that. I feel like they definitely just herself and her mom, right? Okay.
I don't think
okay. I feel like that's the best thing they could have done, right? They don't have to, if that's not the due process. If they are being called upon to come to formally do things the way it's supposed to be done, I feel like definitely they can answer the call, or like they can sort of proceed with the request. But if this is just some off the books thing because of the situation or the circumstances that are surrounding this, she should just carry on with living her life and just keep focusing on herself. The last one that I find really interesting, with the group, the South African, requesting that this and that, like, I don't know, it pisses me off to really think about this fact that there are some people somewhere putting their energy and time into such act. And I'm wondering, why do you hate someone so much that you devote your life's cause or your life's mission into breaking them down or turning them apart, right? Like, but should the Miss World pageant even interfere? No, they have no reason. As long as they have their own criteria as well, and they follow the checklist and the eligibility thing, and she passed it. It's not like, why bother looking into some, what's it called now, some governmental or some two countries? It's not even two countries.
Some unnecessary drama. Exactly. South Africa doing their thing. I don't think the Nigerian government she's Nigerian anyways by birth, so it's fine.
Exactly. So it's not even about eligibility. She has the right, the birth right to be Nigerian.
She's Miss Nigeria. Exactly.
So my question now is, why? Because this is not the first time this South African xenophobic. Two things: are they just like this towards Nigerians, or you believe they are just like this too? Because for me, I feel like they have this strong reaction towards, I don't want to say hatred, right? But it's something close to that. It's definitely hatred, like towards Nigerians. I'm not sure if they extend that to other Africans.
This is an interesting one. So I think it's mainly Nigerians, but not just Nigerians. Because I've also seen some people from other South African countries, like Southern African countries,
Yeah,
that have experienced certain things like this as well. But it's mainly Nigerians because this is what they say. Nigerians are loud. They come here, basically similar to what Donald Trump would say about Mexicans. They come here, they do drugs, they did this, or they come here, they take our jobs. So it's either they're doing crime or they're taking our jobs. And they add another layer to it because there was a time that it also happened in Ghana. They're taking our girls.
yeah.
And it's difficult to compete with the Nigerian men when it comes to
Spending power.
Sometimes spending power, but also I would imagine being a boyfriend, a man. It's difficult to compete because, there are certain things that their women feel like they want in the men that they want to choose that they don't see in some of their South African men. But then there's also a very strong topic on the crime one, and they're like, oh, Nigerians are the one coming here to do crime,
Do illegal
businesses and stuff. And they say that, and what I would say is I still don't believe that it's the majority of South Africans, because they love us. We love them too. They love us. Trust me. Like,
I think it is a lot.
Like
a lot of their men, maybe not a lot of their women.
Exactly, it's a lot of them, but it's not the majority of them. It is a lot of them. You're right.
Yeah, maybe not.
But it's not the majority of them.
Yeah.
Because I mean, for example, Mo, she's in South Africa for work quite often. She has some of the best experiences there. Of course, this is an experience of one person, but also Elliot was in South Africa one time and he had a great time. And we have a lot of Nigerians.
I can imagine if I would go to South Africa, I would have
probably have a great time as well, because and I've seen on the internet that some people have now started calling out locations that you shouldn't go to as a Nigerians, and it's not many locations, one, and two, it's also not the type of location that you will go to anyways if you're a tourist, for example. Like, it's really the Lungu, the Zangas, the favela type locations in South Africa. So basically, people that are economically challenged, someone has convinced them somehow that it's that other group of black people. Yeah, because it's only Nigerians that live like the white people of South Africa in South Africa. Of course, there are South Africans doing it as well, but it's just much more common. So when you actually go online and look at some of their nicest neighborhoods, majority of the black people there are Nigerians.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you come from nowhere? We thought those things are only meant for white people.
Yeah.
But you guys are doing it. Fuck these guys. You make us look bad. That's how I interpret it. It's just
then they should go for the problem, not Nigerians. The problem is on the other side of
blame. It's easy to blame. It's like the people that would blame Mexicans or immigrants for taking their jobs, and then you ask them, "Will you do those jobs?" And they'll be like, "Which job? When have you applied to those jobs and they rejected you?" And then it doesn't make sense anymore. And I think it's the same situation. That economic divide that is in South Africa, to see that Nigerians are able to look at it and feel like, even though I'm an immigrant here, it's similar to some of the things that African immigrants will face in the US as well. It's much much stronger and much more violent in the way some South Africans are expressing it. And again, mostly the broke ones. I'm sorry, but the locations that some Nigerians mentioned on the internet that you shouldn't go to, the broke ones. If you go to the areas where it's like, the rich South Africans, the baller South Africans, which they have a lot of those as well, they love Nigerians. They collaborated with us on Afrobeats. They collaborated, like, they love Nigerians, and we love them as well. Like, we should be one. Yeah, but we have people that are not too happy at home, and they just want to project it to everyone else. That's what I think.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it for this episode. Thanks for listening, guys. We really appreciate it. And please do not forget to like, subscribe and share our video. We are on every platform. TikTok is on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram and YouTube here. So like, share, comment. We would like to hear your opinions about what we're talking about. Again, we're sharing our opinion, but we really love the nuanced idea. If you think we've gotten something wrong, if you think you have a different thoughts about something, please share it. It's always welcome, but not the authority on common sense and critical thinking. We're just using it to the best of our knowledge as well. Apply it as well, guys. Peace.